Hello and welcome back. This is Sherry with Heart and Soulful in the studio today, and I'm going to be starting another journal. If you are just joining me for the very first time, welcome. I hope if you enjoy this video, you'll give me a thumbs up, click on subscribe, and click the little bell if you want a notification when I do post a new video. So I have been working the last several videos on some really small, cute little journals that I've done some slow stitched spine covers for. I'm using old grungy vintage books. So I'm going to work on the third one today, but I wanted to start this video and kind of back up a little bit. When I started my channel, my intention was to share the things that I was learning as a beginner with other beginners, because I found in a lot of the videos I watched, you can tell when someone gets a little used to doing what they're doing. They do it a lot and they're comfortable with it. And I'm guilty of this now. And so that's why I wanted to kind of take a step back, is they kind of rush through and gloss over or just kind of brush over things that they've repeated in multiple videos maybe. But if you're brand new, you might not know what all the tools are and all the lingo and that kind of thing. And we get, at least I do, I've been getting in a rush where I've been finding myself doing more off camera because I enjoy that a little bit more. It's the creative process, and I can take my time and not feel like I have to rush to keep a video to a certain length. And what that's done is maybe I don't cover things. I'll make a reference that I covered it in a previous video. And if you're not someone who's been following my channel since it started and watching every video, you maybe haven't seen that, or it's hard to find that video. So today I want to kind of answer some questions that have come up in the last few videos. I know not everybody reads all the comments to see what the answers are. So I thought, well, some people may have the same comments, and I know I have been rushing through some parts of this. Like I said, doing some off camera. So I'm going to back up a little bit today. The question that I want to answer, and I'm going to probably do it a little more in depth than she even wanted. But again, it's kind of to cover some things for people who may be doing this for the first time. So I had two questions from two different people that kind of are on this, that can be addressed in this video, I guess. And then I'm going to try to do that from time to time, is when I get questions, try to, even if it's regarding a different project, in my upcoming video, try to address that question that way. They may get a better, more thorough answer than I can just leave in a comment. And sometimes the video link that I share from an old video, it may cover it, but it may be that I've learned something new in the meantime and have a better way of doing something. So because I'm a beginner, I'm, just kind of learning as I go. Okay, so I think to start this one, the two questions that I think I can answer in this video are, one was about my old books. Where do I find these cute little old books to repurpose? And then the other question was, I may have made reference in a couple of recent videos about how I prepare and do folios ahead of time, and how I store those and how I sort those and that kind of thing. So I'm going to probably go into the paper part of it a little more in depth, but that's just because I use multiple different ways of storing my paper depending on what it is. So I'm probably going to cover a little more than just for this project, but I think maybe it'll help you. I haven't done a studio tour. I keep thinking I would, but I never seem to have it tidy and organized enough. It's much better than it was. So I think I'm going to take the camera off of here. This is also part of the problem, is I'm holding my camera as my iPhone, and that's kind of hard to do and show you things one-handed and keep the phone at the right distance. I'm just not good at that. So I'm going to attempt today to show you a little bit of my studio and how I'm organizing things. So I'm going to start with where I keep the books. I'm probably going to have to edit this all together so that you don't get seasick from me moving the camera around. So I'm going to take it down, and we're going to go over and take a look at some of my old books and where I store some of my things. Okay, so in my studio, I have this set of bookcases, and I've had them forever, and they've evolved over the 25 plus years I've had them. I did a lot of sewing, so they used to be full of all of my sewing stuff and trim, and now I'm doing paper craft. They share space. So you can see I have fabric and baskets all over on the bottom shelves, and then I have more of my craft things on the upper and mid and upper shelves. So I just I have this thing where I like to collect old books. And so I just kind of have them arranged, some of the smaller ones here that I have not taken apart. Some of them I may take apart and some I may not, because I just, they're just a collection like this one. I won't take apart. It's a Bible. It's really old. And it's actually part of a kit that I did. This is actually my version that I reproduced by reproducing the cover and then turning it into a journal. It's empty now, but I did 365, I think, at least pages, so that it could be a daily devotional sort of journal. And I just still have it. See why I'm not good at this. It's hard to keep myself in frame here. Anyway, I have, some Shakespeare, just some beautiful covers, some really old things. So I don't know what will come apart and what not. I buy books that are super damaged so that I don't mind taking them apart, even though they're really old. So some of these things may come apart. Now, as far as storing things, I'll kind of start because I'm seeing the first bit that I have here. I like vintage things and grungy things, so I collect just like old file boxes and cigar boxes and that kind of thing. So these are a stack that I'll actually use to demonstrate. So in this one, there are some single pages that are not really what we'll call a folio. Now, if you're brand new to all of this and don't know the lingo, I'll try to explain. So a book, if you took a book apart, it has these little groupings of pages. If you take the book out, you'll see these little individual groupings. These are called signatures. So when you hear someone say sewing signatures in or doing signatures, that's what these are called, each little grouping. So a grouping, if you take a grouping apart, there may be multiple folios in that signature. So this one, if you can kind of see, I've taken part of it apart already, but this is a folio. Each one of these is a folio. So a book would have 4 pages. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And it's basically this double piece of paper folded in half, and that creates a folio. So multiple folios nested inside each other creates your signature, and then you have multiple signatures in your book. Okay, so what is in this bin, I try to prep things ahead because taking apart books is very time consuming and messy. I will do that on camera. Maybe I'll make a video just for gutting a book so that you can not be afraid to do it, on your own if you haven't tried. So all this shelf is books that I may or may not take apart, and this bin here are books that I've taken apart, but I haven't taken the time to break them down even more. So they're still in their book form. Maybe I've ripped off a few of the signatures, but not the whole thing. So I kind of tend to take part of a book apart and get some of the signatures and folios completely cleaned and ready to go. And that's when I put them into this bin. So this bin here, I'm missing my little wire basket that I've got on my desk because I'm working with it. But I just took another file box that I took the lid off of. And this bin is full of books that have been gutted and taken apart and cleaned up, and all of the signatures have been broken down into their individual folios. So they're grouped by their original book. So that's why I have less of some, because I've used them. Actually, these in the very front are single pages that I have folded in half for a folio. So what happens, sometimes you get a single page from a book that came apart because it was fragile, or it may be the beginning or end of a signature, and so it's just a single page. And so I'll take some of those and fold them in half, but they're ready to go into a book, so they go into this one. Okay, and here next to is where my other basket goes. So these again are some books that the covers have been removed, but I haven't even started taking them apart yet. So I put those there. This up here is another thing I like to collect are cigar boxes. So I use those to store different things. This one here is out of a vintage steamer trunk. This actually was the drawer for my vintage steamer trunk, and I've just used it to kind of corral my books. But I've got some old falling apart ones here. This one, these are all pages and things that came out of books, but they're larger. Dictionary pages and atlas map books and things like that are a little larger, and music paper. Also this book that has vintage clothing and things in it, and some more music sheet. These are all larger, and so I don't really want to fold them ahead of time and make folios because they're even folded in half. They're too large for most books, so they need to be, I need to like fold up pockets or flips and that kind of thing. It's just easier to wait and do those with each book because each book's a different size and I don't want to have to refold and that kind of thing. Up here I have this, you might recognize this as my bookbinding box full of stuff. These are actually, these would make really cool book covers, but these are lids from cigar boxes that the lids have come off. And I scan those for the graphics and that kind of thing. These are some old books that are actually, I spent a lot of money on. This was a birthday gift to myself. Some old books that I really love that I won't take those apart. These I actually might. I didn't pay a fortune for these, and they just have gorgeous book covers. So those would just make beautiful journals. And so I have this whole set. So I may take those apart. These again are in different languages, even though they're really nice covers. They're nothing I can ever read, right? So they would make really gorgeous journals. So those I may break down and take apart at some point. Then this is just some other storage of some other things. Maybe I'll show that at a later time. But over here, I have some larger books I keep here, that atlases and things like that have really large size maps I can take apart. And then this is where I keep the books that I've already taken apart. These are all just covers that I need to turn into journals or things that maybe I've started. Reader's Digest books. Oops. These spools, another collection habit I have. Reader's Digests are great books for doing altered books, and I do have some videos on that. But I kind of just, this is kind of where I go to find covers I might want to work on. And then over here I have more dictionaries and things that I've started taking apart, different ones, so that I get different patina and different size of dictionary pages, which are sometimes fragile for books, but they're great for gel printing and that kind of thing too, and collage and that sort of thing. Okay, so moving around, I should show this while I'm here. I know my camera's not the right direction, but I'm doing some slow stitching on some overalls. I bought some overalls that already had this some patch done, but I didn't really like how white it was, so I'm adding patches of color, and I'll do some slow stitching on those. Okay, so going over here to my closet. This is where I keep my printer. It's in a closet, and because it's a closet, it had a shelf already, 2 shelves. So I had the electrician come in and put power in there so I can plug in my printer, and it fit nicely on this shelf. And then I have these organizers for all of my different papers that I use to print on. And you'll notice that I have labeled what they are. This is actually 24 pound now. It's the same brand, but 24 pound because they didn't have the 20 pound. But you see 2 different colors here, and it's because this is the new paper, and then this is the same paper, tea or coffee stained. I like to print onto tea or coffee stained paper so that my digitals or whatever I'm printing look old. So I rarely print on white paper, but you know, I do use this for other things. So I do have both. That way I can kind of see when I need to tea stain some like these. I don't have any. Cardstock I use. Newsprint, same thing. I have newsprint that is tea stained and then not tea stained. So that's just kind of where I store my paper for my printer. On the other side, I have the specialty papers, my shipping labels, and then these are white linen, different woven papers. I won't pull them out, but they're papers that you can use for if you want to make like a faux wallpaper look. It has that linen texture on the paper, and so I like to use those. Again, I like to tea stain them first, so those are just still new. Down here is where kind of my mess is, but this is some things I need to scan. I keep this dictionary handy because when I do my scans, I like to set it on the lid of my printer so that everything is really flat. And sometimes I don't close the lid down because it's in a book. I haven't taken apart the book. And so I use that heavy dictionary to get the pages flat. And then down here, this is just some recycled, I'll print on the other side. Some dictionary page because I like to print on dictionary page. Sometimes I have, this is other dictionary page, manila paper, my fabric that I already have ready to go to print, that sort of thing. And then this drawer is open because this is a sneak peek. I had a friend, that's another place that I get old books, is I shop antique stores usually because that's where you can find the really old, good, great books. Thrift stores, sometimes you get lucky, but usually antique dealers will have cleaned those out. They go weekly, they know to keep an eye on that. Or garage sales, same thing. If you can beat the antique dealers there, you can find the old books. But a lot of times they come early in the morning, they know. And so by the time you get somewhere, they've already bought them and now they're in an antique store. So I tend to look for the grungiest books possible because then they're going to be maybe not as expensive to buy as, a book in good condition. This drawer is really old. I'm sorry about my shadow, but I had a friend who was cleaning out her mother's attic, and there were all of these scrapbooks and albums that are full of cards and things in there. They were very musty and damp when I got them, so I laid them out. I'm trying to kind of I haven't had time to deal with them yet, so I just put them in this drawer with a bag of lavender to try to kind of get the scent. But there are things from all the way from the 1800s to I think kind of the 40s, I think is what I saw when I looked through them when I first got them. But they need a lot of work, and I do want to do some scanning and that sort of thing, but they're full of postcards and all kinds of things. So that is kind of just a little teaser. But that is where I find things, is from friends. I also, let me go back to my bookcase again. Those books up top there are all, I think, Pollyanna books. I have a friend that has a shop, and she collects, antiques and that kind of thing too, and she loves books, and she would get them who knows where, libraries, when they were selling out their books and garage sales or what. But she's kind of, I guess, as she wants to get rid of things, she gives them to me. So I do, if you have friends that know what you do and they come across something, they may be able to hook you up with some great old books. So anyway, that's where I have mine, and I will let's go back to my table, and that's where I will kind of show you that other little basket that I have. Okay, so now I'm back at my table. This is the book we're gonna work on today, but I wanted to show you my papers because there's a couple other ways that I organize things. So these papers I pull for journals, but I leave them in that area, in that spot by my copier, because a lot of times I want to copy digitals onto them so that you see, for example, the dictionary page, but then maybe it has a digital printed on top. So it's like an overlay, without doing it in your graphic design programs. So you can kind of manually do that. So like I might have a digital that's of large text that's handwriting or something, and I want to print it on this just so I have those two layers. This isn't tea stained, but if I tea stained it, I would have another batch, of tea stained or lighter color, original color. So all these are tea stained or coffee stained, and they're, even though they're in one pile, I can see, when it goes from one to the next. So I'll just, this is all the tea stain. I don't know if you can see it up close, but this is the white linen. It started out that white linen, and then I tea stained it, and then I would print like a faux wallpaper digital on this, and that really gives you that feel of actual wallpaper. You know, and I have parchments that I've done. These are just, I think, things I wanted to scan that got in here by accident. I think this is not supposed to be there. You know, graph papers. I keep graph papers, tea stained, different ledger papers. You know, some of the cheaper whole lined paper, like the cheap school stuff, the ink is not very good and you lose the lines. So even though this started out as lined or graph paper, but some of the cheaper brands, you don't see the lines anymore. The acid from the coffee or tea kind of gets rid of it. Anyway, so I keep all these different papers, receipt papers, you know, just a variety. Here's some dictionary page that I did tea stain. You know, some of the newsprint paper, school, you know, elementary school lined paper. Just some composition books that I've taken apart. All that kind of stuff. So I just keep this pile of papers by my printer, but I will also maybe pull from this for my journals so that I have some blank pages in between my busy pages, okay? So we're going to pull from that. I'm going to set it aside. Since I wasn't sure I was going to get my camera off and show you around my bookcase, this is one of the things I keep in that with those larger pages are these, you know, music and atlas, and then even some tea stained larger doilies that I can fold as a folio and then cut them down too. So that, maybe we'll grab something out of that. And then another thing that I do is I also use these kind of bins. So when I print digitals out ahead of time, I'll put them in these bins, and then I have them stacking in a different bookcase. But I can pull from here, especially for these small books. These are maybe pages that I've already started tearing up and using for things, so I put all the scraps in here. But some of them are full sheets still, so I can fold them in half and make folios. And if they've been cut down, you know, some of them are still large enough that I can fold in half for some of these smaller books. So I keep this handy so that I can dig through that. This is just another one. This has some digitals of some vintage ephemera, so I could maybe even pull from here, you know, like I folded that in half. That could go into one of the small ones. I'll pull that out. But these are all done on newsprint so that they felt like they're old. And I've cut them up, you know, because I use these for like collage or things. But if I hadn't cut these up ahead, I could just, you know, fold the pages. But the way they were arranged on the page, you really wanted to cut them apart. But like this one, I left big because I can fold it in half and it would be, so maybe we'll leave that one out too. Okay, so another way you can store things, this is kind of how I started doing the digitals. And I do, let me see what I have printed. I also use these. These are handy in case you're traveling anywhere and need to take things with you on the go. These I just got at Walmart. They're just in the school office section. And I like them because they have these little dividers. So if you have certain digitals, like these are a bunch of clock faces that I've printed and I need to cut them out still. But you can maybe from a certain kit, like these are all from my, you can see, these are all from my book page kit. And there's some music in there too, but these are all just ones that I have printed out, and these were all just done on white paper, because when I do a new digital kit, I print them out on just plain white paper normally for the video that I do, so that you can see what they look like printed on white paper. But I could use these, you know, in things. So I don't have much in here, but this was just another way you can store your digitals to keep them sorted, or your other papers, so you can kind of keep them sorted. So I'm going to grab this first one. Now you can see why I don't always do this on camera, because it's really hard to adjust and get this into the frame. Let's see, because it's so big. you know. But these are my pages that I have. Let's see, I'll pull out a stack of these. So these are already made into nice folios, so I just kind of have them in there by size. In that first black one that I showed you, it had the signatures that I hadn't taken apart yet. It also had the single pages. So a lot of times when you're taking a book apart, you will get pages that are so fragile, or it's maybe the beginning or the end of a signature, or there's a photo in the book. A lot of times what they'll do is your signature will be all your text pages, and then they'll put just like a little bit of glue along the edge and add the photo on top. And so that peels away. So you end up with a lot of times just some single pages. So like in this case, I put it in my finished folio one because I folded it in half. So all of these are either single pages that were folded in half, or they might be an actual, let's see, an actual old small book that it's in a folio. So let's pull out one of those because I really like those. So I'll just kind of go through and grab, like this one was one where there may be a signature that has 2 pages, but I know my book is a little small, so actually one of these folded in half is a good size. So I just go through and grab a variety of, this is a little dictionary page that has the notch in it, which is kind of cool. We'll grab one of those. I had one of those. And then I kind of just go through and this is a dictionary page folded in half. This is a different dictionary. It's a nice different color, but it's already in a folio. So I'll put one of those, and I'll have to trim that down. This is from a French English vocabulary book. Oh, maybe it doesn't have French in it. I thought it did. Oh, it does. So it's just a English-French exercise book. These are very similar. This is a little French book. There's a music page. This is a different music page. I like to do 3 signatures usually, so it's nice to have a variety. Like if I'm going to do music, do 3 different ones so I can have a piece of music in each one. These are all larger pages. Let's see. Here's another French. So I like to do multiple foreign language things too. Let's see. This one has some pictures on it. Don't know if I want that one. So this is it. You just kind of go through and grab some different things. I think I already have another. I have a few here, and I already had one of those French ones. I have a few here that I had pulled out for the previous journal, and then I didn't use them, so I've got enough, I think, of those. So let's put this back. And then the other one, this is the one that I have shown in previous videos, and the person that asked the question, she thought maybe I had a new or different way of doing this, but I don't. I'm still using this because it still works for me. It really helps me know when I need to make more. But this one has more of a variety of different things in it. So I have these little guest checks that are tea stained. So let me grab one of those. I have another one that's a bigger size that's different. We'll use that. I don't know if I grabbed a receipt from the other one. So these are just good because my book is small. So these are nice. Then I think I have one of these. Yep, I have this one already. But it's folded for that other book. So I'm going to put this one here, and we'll use this one. That way we can make it the size we need. Let's grab one of these. Again, it's already... Some of these I'll fold, and I'll have them already be in sort of a pocket way. My book, I think... It's kind of nice maybe if I look at the size of my book first, but this is going to stick out, and I don't really want to trim that off, so I'm not going to use this one. Let's see, what do I have here? We can use that. that fit? I'll have to trim it a little bit, but that's okay. It's dictionary. That will work. Graph paper. And then I have a whole section here, and I didn't use any of these in the last one. But I have this whole section are printed digitals. So let's see what I have here that I might want to use. That one would be okay to trim. Some old wallpaper. I think I like. No, that one's good because it's very green. You can see I was trying to play with the color of this wallpaper, so that's why they're all different. But they're all usable. That one's kind of nice because it has a little more color in it. I like that one. That one I could do. So maybe I want, you know, in each signature, maybe I want a digital on top of that one I like. So how many do I have here? 1, 2, 3. This was me, actually, this would be for a larger book, playing around with actually doing more to the signatures and doing, you know, doing some kind of elaborating on them instead of just folding them in half. And then that way they're even more prepared. But these would need to be for larger books. So I don't always like to cut these up small. Do I already have that one? Yes, I do. Oh, no, it's different. This must have been me. No, these weren't even mine. When I say mine, is I purchased the French Chateau series. There's several groups from Roxy Creations. Oh, I like that too. That'll fit nicely. I have to. That's kind of better for a taller one because I don't want to really cut that down, do I? Anyway, I bought the kits from Roxy Creations, all of hers. And I wanted more papers for my own. Yeah, I think I'll use that. For my own, doing my own original digitals, but that complemented hers so that I could have a journal that didn't just have all of her stuff in it. So I created some of my own. This is one of mine. If I do that, I'd cut her off. I could fold it though. I like that. Okay. I'm getting quite thick here, but this is a thicker journal. That would be nice. And these were ones, obviously, I'd already put together a signature of different papers, but again, that would be better in a larger book, so I'm not going to use that. Okay, so let's see what else I have here. I don't have one of those. Is this folded? No. I don't need inside pages, but that's what those are. More dictionary. I don't really have a lot of lined paper in here, so let's see. That one would be cute. Oh, the heck. Map. I don't have map. This is folded. These are old the original old maps. And I do like to use a variety of, I hate to waste that there, let's see, of actual old paper and then ones that I've copied onto something. Oh, here's some other music. Just want to see if I have a, this is a printed digital, I don't want that color. Oh, that I printed onto something. That size is better. It's kind of like this one, though. It's the same thing, but so I'll put that one back. I like this one better. Some more digitals. Another map. Let's see. Oh, and then this whole section, I think I have a little divider here. I think these are, I don't know, these are, I was going to say I thought they were all singles, but I think they're just old book pages. But they're different than what's in the other one. Let's see. I probably have enough in my pile there, I have a feeling. Oh, these are cute. This is a small ledger book. It won't need to be trimmed down very much. Use that. Oh, and I like these too. These are the original old. This was a very large ledger book. I think I had these in my kit when I sold kits of actual old pages. So let me know if you think I should do some more old kits of old pages. I probably want to take apart some more books just to get a nice variety. Oh yeah, these are all. That one's already, ooh, it's already made into a pocket, reinforced and everything. Okay, I don't know, is that enough? We'll see. I'm going to get these into signatures. I'll show you how I do that, and then we'll see if I need more, I can add more. Oh yeah, because I have that whole pile of plain papers there too. So let me sort these. I'll show you, instead of doing it off camera, I'll take the time and I'll actually show you how I do this. So I'm going to sort these by kind. So I would call this like a plain paper, even though, let me get in here a little closer. I'm going to have book page that's text. I'm going to have either plain papers or lined graph paper, that kind of stuff in a pile. And then maybe I do like maps and music and digitals. Maybe I'll do 4 piles. So let me make room here. Digitals, map. We're going to put this in text, I guess. Maps and music. These are lined. These are all digitals. Here. This one. Dictionary page I'll add to this pile maybe. It could go in the book page, but it's different, right? So we'll put it there. These little small ones I'll put here. Actually, sometimes I'll do like a foreign language one too, so that I get those. This is not foreign language, but that one is. Music. Let's see, maybe I'll put this in text. Music, it's foreign language one. That is 2. And then sometimes I'll separate the dictionary ones out just so I get those kind of together. Oh, that's cute. Very fragile though. I'll have to fix that. All of these. Let me fold this in half. Even though it's a digital, let's see, do I want it in here? I'll go ahead. That one I think I'm not going to use. It's too fragile. This one, that one. That way I can tell too if I accidentally, oh, these were already trimmed because I was going to use them in the other one. This would go in plain. These are foreign language. That way I can see if I have duplicates, which is not the end of the world. It's just nice if you have a variety. That was another digital. Okay, so I have my piles sort of sorted out. That way I can spread them out across my signatures, and that way I know they'll be spread out across my book. So I'll just grab a pile then. I don't really care what order they're in yet. Get these out of my way because I'll do that at the end. So then you have to decide how many signatures you're going to have. You might want 5 signatures, but I tend to do 3 for the size of books that I do. It just works out fine. But again, you could do whatever number you want to do. So I'm just going to not even worry about size of these again. I'm just going to go like this. So I had 3 music. I have 2 map. It would be nice if I had another map, so I should grab one. Okay, I have these little ones. So maybe I will put 2 together and create this. They're not going to be together anyway, but they would be map if I put them together. So I will put these together. That's not cut very straight. I'll put these together and create my own little folio for that. I could fold it in half, and then that's pretty small. So I think I'll put these 2 together. And what do I want to use to put them together? In my mind, for some reason, fabric, it's telling me put fabric on there. But where do I have a piece of fabric? My mind, for whatever reason, is telling me to use fabric to hinge these together. So I'm going to do that. And I could even leave a little bit of a gap if I want. I don't have to worry about it being too close. So I'm gonna see if glue stick will work because it's gonna get sewn in. I don't want it to be too wet. So let's try this. We're gonna try glue stick and see. Let's see. Kind of get the length that I need. That tore very easily, which is maybe not a good thing. The other thing that I could do, let me get one side first, is I could go sew this on my sewing machine, and then I would know for sure that it is going to stay. I'm just using, you could use a glue book or something like that, just any old piece of paper, so I don't get glue on my mat, because then it would be all over everything else. So this is just the craft mat thing that goes on my Tim Holtz glass craft mat. Okay, I like that. There's my third map. Okay, but I want to kind of, just because the size, which they are all going to get cut down, is maybe I do this because of the size of the pages they're going with. Okay, my next pile is my digitals here. And some of them are just plain on one side, and some of them I do what I call a side B, you know. That one's busy, but some of them, oh, this one's plain. This is like a B side where I fade out some text or something and print it on the other side. So let's kind of see how many have even divided kind of that way. These two were plain paper. That has a B side, that has a B side. That's plain paper. That's a B side. That's plain paper. Okay, so let's see. This is the only one that's really busy. But that's kind of pretty even for a very front cover, maybe. That would be good, though, for the center. 1, 2. I'm just kind of thinking in my head what I might... I kind of like that for the front, though. So let's... I don't know, that one might be good for the front, too. Okay, let's do 2 there. I'm thinking about if I put these on the outside of my signature, that will be the first thing I see in my book. So I'm kind of paying attention to what might go there. Okay, there. And I like those 3 colors, so let's see. That's really plain. That one there. That one there. And I have this random one. We'll do her in the middle. I had these 2 also. I could do maybe like that. Okay, good enough. These are my foreign language ones. So I'm just going to go like this. See if I have any that are duplicates. That is from the same book as this one. So let me see if I end up needing it. That looks like that's the same book as that one too. So maybe I don't use that. So maybe that. And I won't use this one. Okay, next pile is this one. And I see already that I have 2 of these. So let's just use one. I have 2 of these. That's kind of a solid, so let's see first about lined. Let's do this. Then we'll do a lined one. That's too similar. I know I'm kind of talking to myself, sorry. So I have 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. That has 3. 1, 2, 3. And I have these 2 random ones. Let's see. They're so small, I should put these 2 together in a thing too. That one could be folded. That's pretty small. Let's see if I just don't use those for now. Let's see. Okay, and my book page. So let's see. 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's my piles. And then I can put some blank page from that big stack if I need some other things. So what I'm going to do next is I have my 3 piles. I know I'm not in frame here, sorry. My 3 piles, and then I'm going to go through each pile and kind of put them in an order that I want. Okay, and I've done this from this part on. I think I pretty much covered it in previous videos, but in case you haven't seen it and want to watch, I'm going to go ahead and keep the camera going. This is just going to be a really long video, and hopefully I can edit it down to some usable kind of size. So I start usually with my printed digitals because when you first open the book, that's kind of a nice thing to see. So I could do this because it looks like a book cover, you know, but then maybe I want something else. And then maybe this could actually even be in the center. I really kind of liked, yeah, that might be good. Okay, so let's start with this one. And then grab something different that you may, let's see, I need to see the size of my book because I may not want to cut that down as much as I have to cut it down. It's not too bad, but then I don't know if I want it for the front. Yeah, I don't mind that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and use this for the front. I should measure these, I guess, so I can kind of see the size. So roughly 4 inches by 6 1/4, something like that. Okay. Just so I can kind of see how much I'm going to end up having to cut off because that's going to be my next step. So that's pretty white and white right next to each other. I don't really want that. So let's do some kind of color. And then maybe it's kind of dark. Nope. Oh, sorry. This is what happens. I start focusing on what I'm doing and I find out I'm not in the frame. And then maybe something smaller going in another direction. I don't know. I think this. I like to mix up and not have just text next to text kind of thing. That I like. I want a larger page here. I'll do that. I don't think I want this one in there either because I already have that kind of page. So maybe I'll put that one there. These look small, but these are actually about the size I'm going to need, so I have to really imagine that these are all cut down, sort of. I don't think I want that in there. Okay, let's see how many I have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. That's a lot. That's way more than in my last one, but this book is thicker. So that's quite a bit. So 16, I think I said. So let's see. That's one. And you can see how I may rearrange some of this. Once I get them cut to the sizes, I may rearrange a little bit so that some of the smaller ones are in between some of the larger ones. But that at least gets me started. Okay, and then there's this one. Pull out my more busy things. And then they're going to go next to each other this way. So I kind of do want to make sure I like what I put next to each other. So I kind of like that. I can put something in between there. Maybe a different color. That's another pocket, so I don't want to do that. Let's do this. Okay, you see how I'm changing the direction of the text when I put them next to each other? And that one's very much the same, so I don't like that. Maybe don't use that one. Oops. What happened? I grabbed the first one too. There we go. That one feels thicker than the first one. How many did I end up with here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So just one more. That's not bad. Okay. 2. And then my last one. So let's flip this over. this one. Unless I fold it the other way. Let's see what's on the inside of this one. Maybe like that. I do kind of like that. Okay, we're just going to go this route. That is, you can't see that very well, but there's an underlay of that is a matte. It's just very faint, so I might do that, even though it's matte. Oh, no, I don't like that. Okay. No, I'll do this. And this. Pocket. Oh, this is already made into pocket and it's for a much wider book. I'm not going to use that. It feels like I have more lined plain things in this one, but let's see. That's going to be an odd little thing. Let's see. I don't know. Oops. Okay. That is what I have for my signature. So let's just put it in there and see. That's actually not bad. Okay, because it's going to really bulk up. So now obviously you can see they don't fit at all. So the next thing I need to do is to cut them down to fit into my book. Now you can decide if you want things to stick above. Usually you want them to, if you're going to set it on a shelf, you know, like this, you want them to be within the bottom, not things falling out. But up at the top, it's kind of fun to have extra sticking up. You could also have extra sticking out the sides. I try not to do too much of that because a lot of times I like to add maybe a border to my page or a tab or something like that. Sometimes what I do before I get to do this part is I will take the pages that I thought were going to go into my book and cut them down first, because that may determine also what I have sitting next to each other. if certain parts cut off or that kind of thing. In this case, obviously I didn't, but I can also look at them first before I cut anything and see if something can be folded so that on the other side it's going to be a little tuck or something like that. Okay, so I think right now, because my video is getting so long, I'm going to go ahead and do a part 2, and I'm going to turn the camera on, I think, and go ahead and record the next part as I go through these. But for now, I'm going to end it, and I'll work on each of these signatures in live time on the camera, just so that you can see how my thought process works, and we'll just continue on from there. So have a great rest of your day. Now go make something. Bye.